Hi everyone, this is Fola Afolayon, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to do a reading. This is going to be more about the intuition. I'm out here in nature, changing up the vibe, and I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. It's tarot related and we'll use cards as an examples, but today I'm going to give you 4 tips or intuitive nudges that someone isn't right for you. So this could be in a romantic relationship, a platonic relationship, a colleague at work, or a family member, but just 4 tips and nudges that someone isn't right for you. I kind of wish I had this along my journey. It was the fact that I didn't trust my intuition and know how to use it or know how to act upon it. And I had so much healing to do in this body in order to really acknowledge it for what it is. And that took a lot of therapy and just like finding tips and tools to support me along the way. So I'm really grateful for having those tools and support along my journey. But these are just tips and tools because we're all very powerful beings. We have so many gifts and abilities that are beyond the 5 senses, and we're often told that that's not real, or we're paranoid or exaggerating, or oh, don't believe that. And there's so many distractions around that keep us from trusting in our abilities. But we all have these senses, right? When we get that feeling when someone or something isn't right. So I'm just going to share what has worked for me along the way, and also some cards associated with it. Some of these cards I didn't get until I, started reading myself, becoming a reader. And, these situations or patterns with people would come up again, and I'd be like, oh. And sometimes it's like multiple situations where the same cards will show up. Disclaimer, tarot can be read in a myriad of ways. It really depends on context and the surrounding cards and situations, but this is just what's come up for me in my situation. All right. So I hope that some of these tips are helpful for you as you're going along your journey, or if you're struggling to work with your intuition and learn how to navigate it and trust your intuition, this is for you. All right. So tip number 1 is the person will appear in your dreams. Now, I know some people are like, duh, yeah, but like this happened to me before I knew it was my intuition, and the person would appear to me several dreams in a row, like 2-3 times a week, several dreams back to back to back. And in these dreams, they were often doing things that were untrustworthy or out of character. And that was my intuition letting me know, you're in danger. This person is not right for you. But I was like, oh no, it couldn't be that. Maybe it's just me. I started to deny my intuition and deny myself that open space to trust and act upon it and disengage from the person. But it was like several things where like I would be like abandoned in the dream. And this has happened with like several people, where my spirit, my intuition is trying to tell me this person isn't right for you. And it's like warning me in the subconscious, like, girl, run, don't walk, run, because this person isn't right for me. And it took a few tries, like, oh, like once I started learning how to cultivate that, I was like, oh, it's time to go, And so that takes time and trust in yourself. And so they might appear in your dreams. Now, the card that is associated with this and that comes up for me when dealing with these particular situation is the moon. The moon card, right? The moon is all about dreams, subconscious, intuition, receiving new things, receiving information from the subconscious. So when you get this card, it might be an indicator, like if you're asking, what do I need to know about this person or situation? This card might be saying, there's some things that are not being revealed yet. There's some secrets. There's something that hasn't come to the surface. Are you looking at this situation clearly? Don't look at it with rose-colored glasses. Wait a while. Use your discernment here, because something is not being made clear here, and pay attention to your dreams. So this card has been very, very helpful dealing with this situation. Whereas the sun will illuminate things and make things brighter, the moon is more dark, and it allows you to be more receptive and not act upon things so quickly, and really get clear and take your time to look within and pay attention. So that is dreams. Okay. Number 2, and this is a big one. This speaks to the intelligence of the body. We've been programmed so much to focus on the intelligence of the mind and academic performance and things like that. But there's so much intelligence in the body. Number 2 is when you feel physically anxious, not only emotionally, but you're anxious around this person and you don't know why. For me, when I'm engaging with someone who's not right for me, I usually feel it in my shoulders, right? Might have some tension in my shoulders. There's a lack of fullness in my breath, so I have short breaths. And then I also might, I'm kind of an awkward person naturally, but like it's even more awkward. Like I'll smile a lot, like an uncomfortable smile around the person like this, like yeah, it's like very uncomfortable, and like, oh, like I don't know why, but it's like this really uncomfortable smile. And then I'll also talk in my upper range, because when we are engaged with people that we don't fully feel comfortable with, we usually speak in our upper range to stay safe. Number one, as a way to keep ourselves safe, or we think in the mind that it will keep us safe. Or number two, it's to feel or to come across as less intimidating or less threatening, because when we're in our lower range, we're engaging with the fullness of our breath. That's theater training. But I learned that in theater training. Like when we're really uncomfortable around somebody, we usually are in our upper range. So pay attention to your voice as well. And then, yeah, it might just be this nervous feeling that you're getting around the person, like when you're on your way to hang out or meet with the person or talking on the phone with the person, but you might mistake it as like excitement or jitters of being around someone new or butterflies. But pay attention, just pay attention to that difference. It feels like something is being sucked out of you. That's the feeling that I usually get, or like, oh, where's this anxiety coming from? Like I remember being around someone who, was not right for me, and then like feeling it, and they saw it physically in my body. They were like, why are you so anxious? Why are you so anxious? Why are you so anxious? Like, and that, I think, was a highlight for me. That was a warning. But once again, I was at the point where I wasn't trusting my intuition. But that was definitely an indicator that this person, you feel really anxious around this person. Time to go. So that is usually an indicator, like in the physical body. So the card that I usually get that's associated with this is the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords, anxiety, restless thoughts, anxious thoughts, the feeling of that, right? Obsessive thoughts. Does this person like me? Am I enough? Am I good enough? What's gonna happen? Like, why do I feel this way? All these thoughts, like, oh, should I wear this? Should I wear that? And it's like you're starting to doubt yourself. You're doubting your abilities. You're doubting your worth, right? So this is coming into question, right? So the Nine of Swords might come up in a reading. Once again, this is context. It depends on the other cards, but this is usually what comes up for me when I'm dealing with someone. Honestly, it's a lot of swords cards that come up when I'm dealing with someone who's probably not right for me or good for me, or a situation, like, a job. If there was a job that I was in and I kept on getting that, and it was like, this job is bringing you so much stress and anxiety, it's time to go. It will always, keep me up at night. I would have insomnia. And you also might have insomnia about this person or situation, and that Nine of Swords might be indicating that, like, okay, this is not right for you. It's not right for you, okay? And then the next one is, this is a big one. Number 3 is dangerous situations or things breaking around you, or you breaking things. Now, it's one thing if accidents happen, but if they're like repeatedly happening ever since you started engaging with this person or situation, pay attention. There was like one particular person, and I was like on my way to meet them, and like I was walking with my sister, and they had a mason jar, and I like broke the mason jar, and then like I was supposed to hang out with the person again, and I flipped over a pot, like, and broke it. Like, things start breaking. I had a particular situation where I was about to do a reading with a client, and the cats were running around, and it was like the candle that I use for my clients, like, cat bumped into it and it broke. But it didn't feel like it was just an accident. It felt like, ooh, something's not right here. And sure enough, that reading, that person came in with all this frantic energy, and I didn't have the capacity to support them. They came in with all of this energy that was so overwhelming, and I was like, oh no, like, you need to go to a therapist or somebody who can better support you in this situation. So pay attention to that. You'll have things breaking, or you'll also, might be put in dangerous situations. Now, things happen, accidents happen, but like I said, if it's like a repetition of them, it's like a warning from your intuition or spirit to say you are in danger with this person. I have gotten into 2 car wrecks in 2 different relationships that were not good for me, right? That were extremely toxic. And these were patterns that I was repeating, right? And it took therapy in order to realize that and support. But it was definitely spirit being like a warning. It was like it was the same car. These 2 car wrecks were in the same car. And I definitely feel like it was spirit warning me when I was engaging with these people. This is dangerous. This is dangerous business. So be on the lookout for that, Accidents happen, but it's, just trust your level of discernment on a case-by-case basis. But it's usually spirit and your intuition trying to let you know this is a dangerous situation, not only physically, but emotionally. And so the card that might come up with that is the Tower. The Tower. Things are falling down, destruction, change. You might as well just get out of there before it gets worse, So this might be an indicator this is somebody that's gonna cause all of these things and you need to vacate as soon as you can, right? So the Tower might show up with that. Okay, I'm looking at my notes. All right, and the last one, sign number 4. You don't feel like they're genuine when they're talking to you. And I know that might be another obvious one, but for some people who are still working with self-esteem and self-worth, it might feel like, oh my gosh, this person really, really likes me. But you have to really sit and discern. So for an example, it's you literally just met this person and they're like, oh my God, you're so cool. You're so awesome. You're so amazing. And you're like, we just met. I don't know you like that. You don't know me like that. Why are you hyping me up? Why are you trying to build me up? And this usually happens in the idealized phase or the idolized phase when you're dealing with a narcissist or energy vampire, where they're building you up, they're building your self-esteem up, they're looking at your insecurities and weaknesses to see where they can nab at and what they can get out of you. And so they're building you up and you're like, if you take a few moments to sit with it after engaging with this person or listening to how it's being received in your body and your emotions, you're like, that didn't feel sincere, right? Or, at first you might feel flattered, oh, thank you, thank you. But then you're like, something ain't right, something is not right here. I don't think that person is genuine. They don't know me well enough, right? Or, they might be trying to test you with the time. You might spend a lot of time with this person, and that what they're doing is trying to test your boundaries and how you value your time. They're like, oh, I could take this person's whole day. I can, manipulate them in that way of just taking their time and making it seem like I really do care about them. And this could be over the phone. It could be in person, but it's they're trying to test how much time you have. That's why it's always good, especially when meeting someone new, be give yourself a time frame and be like, oh, I have to go. Because you don't want people to waste your time. Your time is one of the most valuable things that you have in this life, and you don't want to be wasting it with people who aren't right for you, right? So they might try to test you, or they might start asking for favors really early on to see how far you'll be willing to go, right? They'll be like, oh, can you do this for me? Can you go to the store for me? Can you give me a ride here? And it's repetitive. And then when you start to put up your boundaries, they might get mad. I had somebody who we start hanging out and they were, an energy vampire, found that out later on. But they were like, oh, can I use your car? Let's go to a party. And they made it seem like it was going to be me and them hanging out, but they wanted to use my car. And I was like, no, I have something to do. And they were like, oh, okay. Yeah, go hang out with your other friends. Yeah. And then when I confronted them about it later, they were like, oh, I didn't say that and I didn't do that. It's a form of manipulation, right? And you have to be clear and discern that. But they will try to test your boundaries and see how much they can get out of you. And what they're saying at the beginning stages will, feel insincere, and their actions will not align with their words. That's very clear. They might talk a good game. They might be very intelligent and knowledgeable about certain subjects and things, but they're not doing anything to align with that, right? They might talk about a certain cause, but they're not really helping. Or if they are, it's more of oh, look at me helping because they want to get attention. But the key indicating card that I usually get is the 5 of Swords, right? Mind games, manipulation. They're playing with their words, right? They're trying to see how much they can get out of you because they have an ultimate goal in mind. They have an ulterior motive, right? And you don't want to be like these people on the side. You don't want to get got over here crying, right? You know, it happens. It happens. But if you get this card, if it's like, what do I need to know about this person? And this pulls up, this is usually an indicator that this is someone who is not right for you and you need to vacate. I've gotten this several times when dealing with narcissists or energy vampires or people who just are trying to manipulate a situation. As I said, this could be read in a myriad of ways, but it really depends on the cards between, next to it. But if you're getting this repeatedly, it's usually, somebody is playing a game. They're trying to play an emotional game, or they're really smooth with words, and they might be really charming with their words, but it's not aligning with their actions, right? So those are the 4 tips or intuitive nudges that someone isn't right for you. You can also use this in a situation such as a job or a different circumstance. I hope this was helpful for you. Ultimately, we want to be in relationships that are fulfilling, full of mutual respect and integrity. That doesn't mean that we're always going to agree on everything. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be conflicts, but there is that foundation of respect, right? And integrity there, and boundaries, and honoring each other's boundaries in a particular situation. So I hope that, you can take some of these, if they were helpful for you in your particular situation. It always helps just to have, support from other people, but at the end of the day, you have the power of discernment. You have intuition. You can use it at any time. If that means just sitting still and getting clear, if you're really unsure and you need to discern if it's your defenses or if it's really this person not being right for you, you can then move from an empowered space and say, I have to disengage. I have to go no contact with this person, or whatever you need to do. All right. So that is all I have today. It's kind of fun switching it up, and this kind of just really came to me intuitively, and I was like, yeah, let me share what I've learned. These tools have really helped me along the journey, and they've saved me time and energy, from engaging with people that are not right for me and that are a waste of time. So yeah. So if you'd like to book a reading with me one-on-one, I'm going to leave the link in the description box below. And then for Instagram, the link will be in my bio. If you'd like to join our community on Patreon to get more consistent content and readings, I'm going to leave that link down below, and it'll be in my bio for Instagram. I would also love to hear about your intuitive nudges. Like, what are kind of things that you get from your intuition when someone or something isn't right for you? Feel free to leave it down in the comment below. I'm really curious. All right, take care and be well. Bye.